Welcome to the ride with Wild Wayne Cartwright, an exciting thrill ride through the wonderful world of HBCU athletics. Before our trip begins, let's set a few ground rules. First, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Second, hit the like button. Third, please be sure to tell someone else about this show. Now that we've got these things out of the way, it's time for our journey to begin. Sit back, relax, and enjoy your ride.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to a fabulous Sunday edition of The Ride with your boy, Wild Wayne Cartwright. And we are at the end of week 13, man. And you know, as it said in the opening, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and tell somebody else about this show, because Wild Wayne is getting ready to take you on another fabulous ride this Sunday evening. We got so much to get into. So let's do it. You know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the montage one more time in this season, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go. We start with the Division II playoffs, where we had 5 HBCU teams represented. The first one, Frostburg State, unfortunately sent the CIAA champion Johnson C. Smith Golden Bulls home for the season. 21-7 was the victory for the Bobcats, and this one is KJ Smothers with 16 rushes, 115 yards, and all 3 of the Frostburg State touchdowns. They forced 3 Johnson C. Smith turnovers in the effort. Johnson C. Smith, nothing to hang your head over, man. First title since 1969. Greener pastures ahead for the Golden Bulls. In Newberry, South Carolina, it was the Newberry Wolves sending the Kentucky State Thoroughbreds home for the winner. 45-21. Reed Sharpie, a 25 out of 34, 288 yards, 3 touchdowns. One of them to DeAndre Coleman. Denham Johnson, he tried to get things going in this, but too many turnovers, too much Wolves. Great season for the Thoroughbreds. First time in the playoffs in a minute. We'll see good things ahead from them in the SIAC. In Virginia Union Richmond, it was the California PA Vulcans behind Roman Purcell with 14 out of 26, 183 yards and 2 touchdowns. Getting things done 27-24 over the Virginia Union Panthers. Curtis Allen had 128 yards rushing in this effort. But in the end, it was just too many turnovers and too much Vulcans. 27-24 Vulcans. As Virginia Union, they make it to the playoffs again, but this time it's a short stay. And how about those Albany State Golden Rams led by Quinn Gray? They advance in the playoffs by coming back to defeat the Valdosta State Blazers 35-30. Isaiah Knowles, 24 out of 37, 264 yards and 2 touchdowns. Teont Weiss, 134 on the ground. Jamil Williams, 2 TDs receiving. As they send Valdosta State home. Next week, Albany State gets to stay at home and host Benedict. And speaking of Benedict, oh, this was such an exciting finish, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll be showing this one a little bit here later. The Benedict Tigers on a game-winning 86-yard lateral across the field to Malik Mullins. As time expires, rally from a 24-7 four-quarter deficit to defeat the Wingate Bulldogs 25-24 to advance to play Albany State for the 3rd time next week. And now we get back into the FCS information, ladies and gentlemen. Tennessee State. Oh, my goodness, man. They had all their chances in this one. They finished losing 7-6 in this one. The Charleston Southern Buccaneers. Zoltan Osborne threw a touchdown pass to Quay Kendall in the first half. And that was all that the Buccaneers needed as they finished their season 5-7 in Tennessee State. Next year's another year. 2-10 on the year, 0-8 in the OVC Big South, man. Shout out to Coach Barlow. Next year's a different year, man. Get those recruits. Get it going. In the CAA, the end of a long season for the North Carolina A&T Aggies as they go to Elon and fall 55-17. Landon Clark had 231 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, even chipped in with 105 rushing yards as well and 2 touchdowns. Isaiah Furman caught 2 of his touchdowns, part of his 111-yard day. North Carolina A&T, the season ends at 2-10 and 2-6 in CAA play. Long off season, but Sean Gibbs has a chance to get it rolling. And in what was the end of the road for head coach Trenton Boykin of the Hampton Pirates, the Rhode Island Rams clinched their first CAA title since 1985 with a 38-10 win over the Pirates. Connor Kenyon, 258 yards and 2 touchdowns. Antoine Littleton, 19 rushes, 148 yards and 2 TDs. That's the end of the story for Hampton on this season as they finish 2-10 and winless in CAA play. In the MEAC, North Carolina Central goes out victorious, winning this game 33-14. Sorry about the typo there, but it was 33-14 there in Morgan. Walker Harris, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chris Mosley, 86 yards in the effort. And Raymond Moore finishing things up as they had, just an in-and-out season for the Morgan State Bears. They finished 4-8, 1-4 in the MEAC. We'll see about Damon Wilson if he's back. But shout out to North Carolina Central. Not what they wanted, but they finished at 8-4. And, oh boy, Norfolk State, they finished 1-11 as they go down to the Howard Bison, 44-15. Tariq Starks, his best passing effort of the season, 279 yards, 3 touchdowns. Anthony Reagan, 16 rushes, 113 yards and 2 touchdowns. Howard finishes at 5-7, 2-3 in the MEAC. Long off season for Michael Vick. We'll see how it goes. And in the championship game, the South Carolina State Bulldogs, they outlast the Delaware State Hornets to clinch the MEAC title for the 2nd straight year. Billy Atkins, 249 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns. Josh Shaw, 16 rushes for a tough 99 yards. Oh, on this day, they forced Bennett and Saray to throw 2 interceptions each. 4 interceptions total on the day. It spoiled a 439-yard rushing effort. At South Carolina State, they march on to Atlanta once again. In the SWAC, it was Texas Southern getting their first winning season in 25 years with a 24-7 win over my Alabama A&M Bulldogs. Jordan Davis started in this one. He threw for 158 yards and a touchdown and had a rush TD. 6-5 on the year for Texas Southern. Alabama A&M, gonna be an off season to try to get things rolling and coming ahead of the 2nd year of Coach Sam Shade as both teams end the year. In Prairie View ends its regular season 9-3 with a blowout 59-6 over Valley. Cam Peters, 234 in the air, 2 touchdowns. Chase Bingham, 71 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. This was all Panthers all the time as they outgained the Delta Devils 500-142. Next up, Prairie View, they're on the road in 2 weeks for the SWAC title game. Valley, 1 more game at home on Saturday against Florida A&M. Alabama State, they finish up SWAC play very, very well with a 44-13 big win over Arkansas Pine Bluff. Tashawn Smoot, 271 in the air, a 50-yard touchdown run, and 4 touchdowns to 4 different receivers. UAPB, they end their season at 4-8. Alabama State, they're not done with season yet. They still got the Turkey Day Classic coming up. And the Florida Classic, man. Another great one down to the wire as the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats snap a 4-game losing streak in the series. Tim McClain, 22 out of 33, 274 yards, 4 touchdowns. One of them to Josh Evans, a game-winning 41-yarder with 20 seconds to go. This game went back and forth in the 4th quarter with 32 total points scored. Oh, man, Florida A&M, they come up short R.J. Johnson had a good game. Thad Franklin. Oh, this game had everything. We'll talk about it in a minute. But it was the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats finishing their season 6-6 with a 38-34 win in the Florida Classic. And in Jackson, oh my goodness, this game went tight down to the wire. Jackson State outlasts their rival Alcorn State in the Soul Bowl, 27-21. Jared Lockhart, 15-17, 194 in the air. Rimbert had 120 of those yards receiving in a touchdown. As Jackson State, they clinched their fourth SWAC East title in the last 5 years, 27-21. Jalen Tolbert led the guys down on a furious comeback. Oh, but it just came up short. And that's the end of the road for Alcorn State, who finishes their year at 5-7. We got so much to talk about. So much to talk about. And listen, y'all been going crazy in these comments, man, already. But we'll get to talking about the games here in just a second, but just bring you up to date. We've got SWAC Football Championship. It is official now. It will be going down December the 6th. You got Prairie View hitting the road, coming to the Vet in Jackson. This game will be on the 6th of December. It'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central on ESPN2. So everybody's been talking about it for a while, and it's finally here. All right. And then also, as I said before, Hampton, they fired Coach Trenton Boykin. This was his first full year in charge. He was the interim head coach last year when they were 5-7. And this year, as you saw earlier in the montage, they finished the year at 2-10 and 0-8 in CAA play. Man. So it's very, very tough. Very, very tough for Coach Boykin. All right. But one of the things that I want to get into here tonight, I want to start with this game. And I know many of you probably saw the ending. And for those that didn't see the ending, here it is.
He'll just dump it down to Simmons. Simmons pump fakes. Now he'll throw it all the way to the other side of the field. There's room down the sideline. Boss chasing him down. Brandon Perry trying to get to it. Oh my goodness. Benedict has scored. Benedict has scored.
And yeah, man, a miracle play there for the Benedict College Tigers, pulling off a massive comeback. They were down 24-7 entering the fourth quarter, and it was just, they were pretty much left for dead by everybody. And they mounted a furious rally. Jackson Jensen led these guys, and that was Malik Mullins on that 86-yard touchdown reception, man, as time expired. I mean, man, it was just, this was amazing, man. So shout out to Benedict, man. These guys, they fought back on the road, and they're getting ready to play Albany State, as you can see. This will be the third time this year that they're going to play Albany State. So Albany State won the first two matchups. They won the regular season matchup, and they also won the SIAC championship. One of these two teams is going to be in the final eight of, in the Elite Eight of Division II football. So shout out to these HBCUs for getting it done, man. That's pretty awesome stuff. Really, really awesome stuff. All right. So what I want to start with the championship game effort there in the MEAC. And we will definitely listen. I got so much stuff for y'all tonight about everything that y'all arguing about here in the chat. I'm gonna straighten it out for y'all. Listen, Wild Wayne got y'all covered. All right. We definitely gonna get into it because I didn't come here empty-handed tonight. All right. So make sure everybody hits the like button. Okay. Hit the like button, everybody. Now let's get into this. All right. So this game, this was early on. It was great action, as a game for a championship should be. It was hard hitting. There was good defensive plays, and there was also opportunistic plays. Now, Delaware State, I knew coming into this game, I knew that they were probably going to have to show that they could do a little bit more than run the football. And while they struggled throwing the ball, they threw two interceptions. Bennett and Saray both threw two interceptions. That was really the biggest difference in this game, were those four turnovers. South Carolina State won the turnover differential 4-1, right? That made a huge difference because there were some extra possessions that South Carolina State was able to get when their offense was struggling. Now, South Carolina State, their offense was not in high octane this game like it's been the previous games. And that has a lot to do with the defensive effort that Delaware State brought to the party. But if you're Delaware State, man, you're going to be kicking yourself all off season because these guys rushed for 439 yards. Gillis, Bennett, and Jones each went over 100 yards rushing. This was the first 9 games of the season. This was Delaware State's MO. They would pound you in the run game. They would rack up the yards, and you would be able to do nothing about it. And in this game, every time that they were making some kind of headway, they ended up throwing an interception. Now, some of it was about the pressure that South Carolina State's line was getting on Saray and Bennett, but some of it, though, was just trying to do too much, also throwing the ball up for grabs. Now, for South Carolina State, this is their second time in a row going back to the Celebration Bowl. They finished with a perfect 5-0 record in MEAC play for the second consecutive year. Shout out to Coach Chennisberry and his group because these guys, you know, they set a target. They said, hey, we want to try to get ourselves back in the Celebration Bowl and finish what we started and what we weren't able to finish last year in, last December. And they have the chance to do that. Josh Shaw in this game, he got some tough yards down the stretch when they really needed them. Delaware State, hey, listen, their season ends right here with an 8-4 record. But for them, I just want to say salute, and I hope everybody in here also will say a salute to them also because they had been downtrodden for many years. This was their first winning season in almost 2 decades. And these guys found a way to pull it all together, defeat the odds, extinguish the naysayers. They come up short, but the path has to be very, very bright in the future for Delaware State and Coach Deshaun Jackson and his staff. But again, salute to South Carolina State on winning the MEAC for the second consecutive year. Well done, gentlemen. You're headed to Atlanta, and I will see you there. All right. So we're going to kind of switch things around here. All right. This game right here, y'all. Now, I know a lot of people who were watching the Alcorn State and the Jackson State game, you probably didn't see how this thing unfolded because this thing was going on simultaneously. And the thing that is so wild about this game, man, this game, I had said it when I set the preview up on Wednesday when I talked about this before I made my pick. And thankfully, I got Bethune-Cookman. I picked them to win this game. I thought this game was going to be a shootout, and doggone it, it was a shootout. It was a deadgum great shootout, man. This fourth quarter, as I said in the montage, man, it was 18-14 FAMU in that fourth quarter. Okay, 32-point fourth quarter. The lead changed hands 4 times. 4 times it changed hands. It was like, Jamal Haley, he runs for a long 72-yard touchdown. Okay. Then Tim McClain throws a touchdown right back to Javon Ross on a long pass. And then Thad Franklin gets loose on a long run for a touchdown. And then, as it's getting close to the end, you're thinking, all right, FAMU, you got this one. You're up 34-31. It was less than a minute. You're thinking, all right, this is about it for Bethune-Cookman. And then all of a sudden, they get to 4th down, and Josh Evans finds himself wide open. And I mean wide open behind the defense. And I'm thinking to myself, how in the world does this guy get this wide open on 4th and 8, less than 30 seconds to go in the game? And it was a complete bust. The corner was thinking that the safety was going to go over the top and give him some help. And the safety was not there, and the corner wasn't either. It was almost like it was a fair catch. He could have just did one of these before he caught the ball because he was standing there. the entire time, just waiting for that ball to come down. But this game, man, this just says what Bethune-Cookman was all year, man. When they won their games, their offense had to carry the day. They struggled on defense in the second half. They led 24-9 at half, and you were thinking, wow, you know, this may be just truly meant to be. But then when FAMU came roaring back, you said, well, and I had given up on Bethune-Cookman. But Tim McClain, man, last game of his career as a collegiate quarterback. And the last pass that he throws as a collegiate quarterback is a game-winning touchdown to win the Florida Classic, man. That's some stuff of legend that makes things awesome, right? So I see some things. He said, yeah, he blew right by the DB. Yeah. I'll see the DB, he chased the crossing route. Yeah, well, whatever he was doing, man, dude was just way back there wide open. And say, I get to hear them Wildcats here in Miami for 365 days. Hey, he said the receiver was reciting the alphabet while waiting on that throw. Oh, man. He said, for Cookman, speed kills, man. Listen, man. What she said? She said, extend cozy. Y'all crazy, man. But listen, salute to Bethune-Cookman, man. You know, in a couple of weeks, I'm gonna give my show like I did at the end of last season when I talk about the picks that I missed during the predictions. Just as a disclaimer, as a spoiler alert, I greatly missed on Bethune-Cookman. But you know what? I think I'm one of many that missed on Bethune-Cookman this year. But salute to these guys, man. They finished 6-6 and they finished 5-3 in the SWAC. And then FAMU, oh boy, you got one more game next week. But man, does this one hurt on the record for James Colsey, man. Oh boy, this one hurts badly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about this one. And as I get ready to talk about this one, I told y'all that I did not come tonight empty-handed, okay? Some things that I've seen through this chat. I've seen y'all going back and forth. I need to say firsthand, okay? This was a really, really good game. If you're a Jackson State or an Alcorn fan, this had to be nerve-wracking for both of you because there was so much that went back and forth in this game that that was just crazy. There was a lot of undisciplined penalties on both sides. There was some provoking penalties. Like I saw a lot of Alcorn State trying to provoke Jackson State players into stuff. I saw Jackson State players falling for some of the Alcorn provoking. I also saw a few of the Jackson State players get a little too emotional in celebrating certain things, or a little emotional with some of their trash talk, a little excessive. You know, there's a lot of stuff that went on, man. A lot of stuff that went on in this game. But like I said, I did not come empty-handed. So let me, if I can, let me show everybody, and let's talk about this one play that was at hand that everybody had a lot to talk about. All right. All right. No sound, but this is the play that we were talking about. And I'm going to rewind it. So we're just playing this thing, letting it go. This was that touchdown in the third quarter that everybody remembers. Okay. All right. So we'll go back, and we'll pause it. All right. Now, there was so much talk about if this play was a good call or not. Okay. Now, for those that didn't see the game, I know most of you did. If you didn't see the game, you saw this by now. Okay. Now, Dave, you say ref should have caught it from the jump. My only issue. I understand that, but I do understand, and you'll understand why I understand when I show you something else after this, okay? All right. So right here, as you can see, we'll start it right here. This first pitch, okay? This is what's called a pop pass, okay? A pop pass is a forward pass, okay? So this was a forward pass to start with, okay? So 4 got the ball on a pop pass. All right, now the next thing that's supposed to happen here is Tyron Warren is supposed to go where he's trailing behind the next guy who has the ball, okay? When 4 hands the ball off, Tyron Warren is supposed to be behind him. If the ball is pitched behind and Tyron Warren gets it from behind, no question. But folks didn't really understand the rules that were at hand. Here, we'll show it again. Folks didn't understand the rules that were at hand. Okay? Pitch, pop pass, that's the first pass. Okay? So from here, you cannot throw another forward pass. Now, some people say, well, this right here, this was a handoff. No, it's not a handoff. That's considered to be a pass because it's forward. And remember, handoffs are supposed to be backwards. So this was a good call by the officials and, well, by the booth review. Okay. Now, some people, they were also asking, well, how is it that this could be reviewed? You know, when I thought that they were reviewing to see if Tyron Warren stayed in bounds. And honestly, when I was watching it live, I didn't catch it. I'm sorry. I know a lot of the rules, but I didn't see it. It happened so doggone fast. I didn't realize what had happened. I thought it was, wow, this was a double reverse. Okay. I caught the pop pass, but I didn't realize that this handoff was like this. But anyway, the review was necessitated because it was a scoring play. And for those that are not aware, all scoring plays are automatically reviewed. And inside of any scoring play, you can review any part of the situation. And just like this said, all TDs are reviewed. Scoring plays, you review everything. Everything is up for fair game to be reviewed on a play. All right. So that's what happened there. Now, I'm going to tell you why I believe, I'm going to show you actually why I believe this call got caught. Because if this play that I'm getting ready to show you from earlier in the season doesn't happen, I don't think you ever catch this play. All right. So let me remove this and let me show you this. Now, this is from earlier in the season, back in week number 3.
It's going to be.
Hold on. Here we go.
Scrimmage. It's going to be.
Good job.
A flea figure going back, and nice job picking up the touchdown. As the pass is going to be complete.
Okay, now
from Malik Hunter back to the quarterback.
Watch the
Marquise
replay.
Edmond.
Is that a backwards
Matthews.
You're going to show a replay.
It was a forward pass.
Front of the quarterback.
Yep.
Which will prevent them from being able to throw another forward pass.
Okay, now I'll go back. I'll show it again. Let's pause. Let's go back. Let's go.
Scrimmage.
Handoff. Okay, here's a handoff. All right. Here's a handoff. All right. Now, he goes.
It's going to
He goes, he gets it.
be
good job.
And then he throws it
a
forward
flea figure
again.
going back, and nice
And
job picking up the touchdown.
Okay, this was Virginia State against Norfolk State early in the season. As ironically, this was the only win that Norfolk State had this year. Okay, now what happened right here, you saw a handoff into a forward pass. All right? And I'm going to tell y'all something. I watched this live, and this was not reviewed. Okay? This was not reviewed. Now, this play right here, this was a legal play, just like he said. This was a legal play. But what was really crazy is that this play was not reviewed. Okay? Just for the pure optics of the situation, it probably should have been reviewed. But I'm going to tell you, if this play probably didn't take place earlier in the year, what you saw in the Alcorn Jackson State game might not have been noticed. Okay? Because this one was heavily on the radar. I don't know how many people saw this early in the season, but I just thought I'd bring it to you again tonight and show you. And here's the full play again.
It's going to be
Good job. I know.
And you see the pass,
going back,
and they score a
nice
touchdown.
Job picking up the touchdown.
Period. There you go. So we go back to the game. All right. So that is everything that happened in that situation. Okay. Yeah. You thought all scoring plays are reviewed. Yep. But you know what? The problem with this is they didn't look at it just for pure optics, just to get some clarity, because the Norfolk State coaching staff was going ballistic. They were like, what the hell is going on? How is this happening? They didn't know. I just thought for optics sake, maybe you review it just to make sure it's good. But anyway, it wasn't reviewed. At least they didn't buzz down to say they needed an extended review. That's probably the best way I'll say that. Okay. So anyway, let's get back to this game. All right. Now let's talk about this. So first off, all right, I'll get into my analysis for y'all, man. What made this game crazy is Jackson State, they had chances, man, to really just pull off on these boys. And Alcorn State, to their credit, they hung tough in this game. I thought that they were going to be done. If you go back to when it was 17-7, end of the first half, and the ball is snapped over the quarterback's head on short yardage from the 1 yard line from the shotgun. And he makes a business decision not to dive on the ball. I'm looking at the replay on television and I'm thinking, how come you're not diving on this football? 17 for Alcorn. And then Lockhart throws a dime on the first play right there to Rembert for the touchdown, 24-7. And I'm thinking, all right, well, hey, maybe it's just all the way Jackson State's night here. They're getting the breaks, they're making the plays, all that. And then Alcorn State found a bit of a running game in that second half, and they started making some plays. Jalen Tolbert, he made some good throws. He kept them in the game, man. He kept them in the game. Now, yeah, I know you guys are talking about penalties. And like Peasy said, both teams had penalties. Both teams were penalized 10 times each. 10 times each. And a lot of these penalties that were called, I'm just going to say it, man, on both sides, a lot of it was just self-inflicted wounds, self-inflicted stuff that shouldn't have been done. Yeah. Now, for Jackson State people, I will say there were some of these plays that I did see, like Stamarion Edwards, number 3, was he was egging on some of the Jackson State players. I give you that. He was. But you know what? The responsibility of Jackson State players or anybody in these situations, you're supposed to keep your focus on the game, man. And I'm just glad that nothing went too far and nothing went too crazy. The officials, in my mind, though, where I will give them some criticism is I thought that they were a little bit too late in trying to get hold and get control of the game with some of these unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. All right. But the last thing I'll say on this game, man, we gotta obviously talk about Jared Lockhart with the fumble on victory formation. And a lot of people in my chat group, man, the first thing we all said was they don't run plays from under center too often, if at all. And that's what I put that fumble on, because they're shotgun the entire time. And they go under center and they botch that thing. And when that thing is on the ground, the first thing I'm thinking to myself is, oh my goodness, like that, this can't really be happening. Really? And credit to Jackson State, because in a situation like this, when that happens, there are a lot of times when teams can lose their focus. And they found a way to survive not just one Hail Mary pass. They survived 2 Hail Mary passes. He said, why didn't we have a guy lined up behind QB in victory formation? Yeah, that's a question. Yeah. But honestly, I just really, he said, okay, TC said they work on that thing every day at practice. Yeah, but here's what I would say about that though. It's one thing to work on it in practice, but when you've had, let's see, he threw the ball 17 times and he handed it off another 30, 40 times beyond that. When you're talking about 60 plays, and you're from the shotgun, and then one time you're going under center, that thing can be a little bit different. That's all I'm saying. That thing can be a little bit different. But I get it. I get it. And she said, oh, Travis Terrell was behind Lockhart. Yeah, I thought somebody was behind him, but okay. But at the end of the day, it's just kind of one of those weird things that happens in games. And shout out to Jackson State, because on defense, they found a way to get it done, even when that happened, right? And it was the end of a game that it was a shame for somebody to lose. But in the end, congrats to Jackson State for finding a way to get themselves back into another SWAC championship game, which they will be hosting, as I showed you, December the 6th. And Wayne, will be breaking this down after Thanksgiving, and we'll be giving you a full exhaustive show to review and just preview this whole game, all right? Because the regular season is fresh. We still have some games to go, and of course, I'm going to pick some of them coming up here in just a minute. But this game right here, this is a game that we pretty much thought we were going to get, for quite a while. And, but before we get to that, I want to just say one more thing about Alabama State. And for Alabama State, this was a season that, it all was defined by one game, one situation, unfortunately, back on October 11th. A great game that you guys played down there in Jackson. And for all the great things that they were able to do this year, they just came up short. Now, they're going to play Tuskegee next week, and, they're going to win that game. They're going to finish 10-2. But, I know that Alabama State fans and players and people are very, very disappointed at this time. And, yeah, it's just one of those type of things about why the game just really, really sucks sometimes. And, yeah, Kevin Sims said 2 yards and 4 points. Yeah, it's just one of those type of things, man. It just happens. But, shout out to those guys, man. Alabama State, they had a really, really good season. Unfortunately, it's not going to end in SWAC championship berth. And, but, again, shout out because to Sean Smoot, you played awesome yesterday. 271 yards and a 50-yard touchdown. So that's just where it is. And, and also for Prairie View, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Prairie View getting it done. This was a game that was never a game yesterday. Prairie View completely dominated this thing from start to finish. This was a game that they just really needed to take care of their business early, get some guys in the game, and finish their senior day well, because they're going to have to hit the road in 2 weeks. So Prairie View, they get a bye week, just like Jackson State, and both teams really needed to refresh and get themselves ready for SWAC championship game. And then lastly, this is the last thing I'm going to say about my Alabama A&M Bulldogs, but I also want to salute the Texas Southern Tigers. This is their first winning season in 25 years, man. Now, yes, they did win a SWAC championship game back in 2010, but it was vacated because they had ineligible players. So this was, by the records, this is their first winning season in 25 years. So shout out to Chris Dishman and his crew. Last year they were 5-6. Yep, that's right, 25 years. Because of vacated records, it's 25 years. Chris Dishman and crew, last year they were 5-6. This year they move up and they finish 6-5. Jordan Davis, hadn't started all year, steps in, does a pretty good job for these guys. For A&M, whether win or lose yesterday, the mission was still going to be the same. It was a disappointing season. A lot of my fellow alums are upset, and they're very, very frustrated. But listen, man, I love Coach Sam Shade, and I have a lot of confidence in Sam Shade, and I think he's going to get things done and get it turned around. And the offseason is going to be very, very critical because it started as soon as the game ended. So that's where it is. That's where it is. All right. So everybody make sure you hit the like button, and we'll show the final standings. The standings as they currently reside. We're not done with games yet. You got 7-1s finish for Jackson State with the gold star now. They get the gold star because they clinched the division. And Alabama State, they still have one to go. Shout out to Bethune-Cookman finishing their season at 6-6. FAMU and Valley, they will get together on Saturday. And then in the West, Gold Star, Prairie View, they finished 9-3 regular season. And then you see Texas Southern 6-5, and then you got Grambling and Southern getting together in the Bayou Classic. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Alcorn 5-7, not bad for the fact that they had a 0-5 start. So they battled their way and they played some good football down the stretch, and they fought hard to the end. And then Pine Bluff, there's questions for Pine Bluff, finishing 4-8. But I love Alonzo Hampton, man, his effort. And then this is the final standings in the MEAC. Gold Star goes to South Carolina State for clinching the MEAC yesterday, and they finished with a 5-0 record. Once again, salute to Delaware State on an 8-4 season, doing well. North Carolina Central 8-4, but it's very disappointing by their standards. 5-win season for Howard. Questions for Morgan State at 4-8, and then, man, it can only get better for you from here, Michael Vick. All right. So this is what I did in my picks this week. Second straight week, I missed one pick. I picked Norfolk State to beat Howard. You know how that turned out. But I finished 10-1, and that brings my record to 135-31 on the season. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna do my quick preview because I don't have a show on Wednesday. So we're gonna get into just talking briefly about these three games that are coming up. He said, Wayne, did you happen to see the handshake between Robinson and Hampton after the game? I did not. Tell me about it in the chat here. He said, people swore NCCU was going to be back in the Celebration Bowl. Listen, I was one of the people that picked them. Hey, they just came up short, but it happens. All right, let's go. Here we go. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but because I don't have a show on Wednesday, I'm going to just mention this. And obviously, we're going to spend a whole lot more time on the other two games more than this. All right, Tuskegee, they're going to finish up there at Alabama State, the 101st Turkey Day Classic. You know what it is, Thanksgiving Day. They played last year. Alabama State killed them last year. They're going to kill them again. Shout out to Alabama State. They're going to kill these boys again. Finish it. All right. And now we go down here to Valley. Now, this game right here, ladies and gentlemen, this was the game that everybody remembers because this was the one that was moved to this date coming up on next Saturday because they had that failed attempt at the Atlanta football or the Georgia football classic. Look, getting all the names messed up. Whatever. It was a mess. Okay. So FAMU, they come in 5-6 after losing the game yesterday. And Valley, shout out to Valley. This is your last chance to try to get a SWAC win. And also, this is your last chance, Valley, to get a Division I win because this was, their only win was against Lincoln back on their homecoming. Now, the question in this game is about what kind of mindset is Florida A&M going to be in, man? Because first of all, this is a game that you don't want to really, neither team. I don't even believe Valley really wants to play this game. I mean, you're giving up your Thanksgiving holiday. Both teams are out of it. FAMU, maybe you look at it, you say, all right, man, we could finish 6-6. But at the end of the day, it's like, man, we're down there at Itabena, 3 p.m. on Saturday. There's not going to be anybody watching it really on SWAC TV other than maybe some parents, and there's not going to really be anybody in attendance either. Okay, so that's just really where it's at, man. So they said Hampton was upset that they scored a TD in the fourth quarter. Pretty much told Era. Okay, all right, yeah, I'll make sure I ask him that tomorrow. All right, so Valley, listen, Valley got these boys last year. This was their only win last year. Came completely out of nowhere down there in Tallahassee. All right, but even as pissed off as FAMU is, they're still gonna win this game 42-17. Dave, you said he gonna try. Yeah, Nate Rembert lit them up last year. He did. And he said, Cozy about to try and score 60. Listen, he going to try to score 60, but I think it's going to end up being like 42-17, man, because they're going to play a lot of, he said, does Cozy have any juice left? Listen, man, if you're a senior, man, you want to go out right, man. So if you're FAMU, yeah, you lost that game last week, but hey, you still get an opportunity to say you played your last game in college with a victory. And they will get that. And said, you don't know, Valley might get him again. I don't know. You know what, Whitley? The reason why I don't really give Valley a lot of sniff in this game is because they lost their quarterback. And they lost their quarterback, Josh Brown. And since they lost their quarterback in the first series of that Alabama State game, they've only scored 12 points in 3 games. So yeah. All right, now let's move to this one, y'all. And what a beautiful landscape we have in the background. The 52nd edition of the Bayou Classic. And nobody had this on their bingo card that Southern would be 1-10 and 0-7. All right. And I don't know what I was on when I created this, but Grambling is 7-4 and 4-3. So y'all forgive me about that. I think I created this one a couple weeks ago. But anyway, this is in the Superdome, New Orleans, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. They played last year. Southern won the game. Be on NBC Sports. All right, a little bit of the history. This is the 76th all-time meeting. Now, these records are always disputed. So we just go by what the neutral party has it as, because there's like vacated wins and ineligible players and all this different stuff, right? But anyway, the record is that Southern leads this series 42-34. They first met in 1932. Okay, the pre-Bayou Classic record was 15-10 Southern. The Bayou Classic that started in 1974. Southern leads this thing 26-24 with 1 vacated Southern victory inside of that. The last 10 meetings, it's been a pretty close series. Southern leads it 6-4. But you can see that Southern has won 3 in a row and won 6 of the last 7 in the Classic series. All right, so this is the last game that both teams are playing this year. This is the last game that interim coach Fred McNair is going to be coaching on those Southern sidelines. So we'll see what the next chapter of his life is, brings him. Mickey Joseph, hey, 7-4 this year. They did some things, and they had a lot of injuries, particularly at the quarterback position. And they're going to come in this game. They're going to be ready to play. Both teams are. It doesn't matter really at this point what records are for each team, because both of them had a bye week, and it's just something about when they see those opposite colors on the other side in this bitter rivalry. All right, listen, it's been a long, long season for Southern, and they would love to finish with a win and not finish winless in SWAC play. But listen, man, regardless of what it is, I just can't see Grambling not winning. I got Grambling winning this game 31-17. And I think it's going to be a closer game, really a 4-quarter game, but I think Grambling is going to find a way to get this done and win this. He said records go out the window this Saturday, as it always does. And that's really what it is, y'all. It's really what it is. And unfortunately for the Jags, they'll finish the year 1-11. Oh boy. But hey, there's talk that Marshall Faulk will be your head coach moving forward. We will see. We will see. All right. Now we go to the ride tokens. All right. And the ride tokens for this week. And I see any report on T-Set. There is no report on T-Set. Somebody will definitely ask Mickey Joseph that tomorrow. All right. So these are my ride tokens for week number 13, y'all. Can't believe we're getting down to the end of this thing, man. All right, Tashawn Smoot yesterday for Alabama State, man, 20 out of 28, 271 yards, 4 passing touchdowns to 4 different receivers. And he also had a 50-yard touchdown rush to boot and a big 44-13 win over UAPB. All right, so great game to Sean Smoot. You get the first ride token. My second ride token, this goes to Mr. Timmy McLean of Bethune-Cookman. Tim McLean on the effort, 22 out of 33, 274 yards and 4 touchdowns, and that game winner to Evans with 20 seconds to go as Bethune-Cookman snapped a 4-game losing streak in the Florida Classic, winning over FAMU 38-34. So he gets the second ride token. And we go D2 playoffs for the other 2 ride tokens. Shout out to Isaiah Knowles of Albany State. And it looked like we got an Albany State Ram fan right here. You know, on the effort, Albany State, they come back and defeat Valdosta State 35-30. Isaiah Knowles was 24 out of 37, 264, and 2 touchdowns. Great job there, Isaiah Knowles. Great job, Albany State Rams, as they advance in the playoffs, and they'll play Benedict, which my special token goes to Mr. Malik Mullins of Benedict College. That game-winning 86-yard touchdown on the last play, which was a miracle play. Awesome job, Benedict College. Awesome job, Malik Mullins, for getting the special token. And these are Wild Wayne's ride tokens for week number 13. And we will see what we get next week on Sunday night for my ride tokens on next week, Sunday night, for week number 14. And week number 14, as I've already showed you, this is the schedule. You've got the Turkey Day Classic coming up on Thanksgiving Day Thursday. It'll be on SWAC TV. Shout out to my guy, Mo Carter. He'll be calling that one down there in Montgomery. Then you've got FAMU at Valley on Saturday. That'll also be on SWAC TV. And then you've got the annual renewal, as we just picked, Southern and Grambling there in the Dome down there in New Orleans, getting it on NBC Sports. And then on ESPN Plus, you've got the third matchup in the Division II playoffs between Benedict traveling to the Albany State Rams. That'll be on ESPN Plus. All right. And now, here we go. My final word of this evening. I'm going to keep it very, very simple for everybody tonight with my final words. First off, I want to make sure everybody that's watching me, make sure you hit the like button, like the stream, everybody. And if you're watching me for the very first time, make sure that you subscribe. And yes, I want to make sure I shout this out for you as well. Alcorn State's band, they are going to be in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. All right. So shout out to you, sis. Thank you for bringing this up. I'm proud to announce this here on the show. Make sure that everybody checks out Alcorn State's band in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on Thursday morning. Awesome job. Awesome stuff. All right. So for my final word tonight, I just want to simply say this. A few things. First off, we know that we've got the Celebration Bowl that's coming up December the 13th, and I will be down there. I'm happy to go down there for the second year in a row, participating, doing some media down there. But I wanted to say that I know a lot of times, sometimes we get into, well, my team didn't make it, so I don't really want to go down to the Celebration Bowl. I want to just make sure that anybody that's a SWAC fan, anybody that's a MEAC fan, anybody that's just an HBCU fan, HBCU alum, HBCU grad, that would be awesome, man, for as many people to show up and support that game. This is going to be the 10th edition of it coming up in Atlanta. And we definitely want to make sure that everything gets as many seats get sold and as many seats get filled, man. That would just be awesome for as many people to come down there and celebrate just that, which should be a celebration of HBCU excellence. And the other thing I want to say with this as well, this season, you guys know, it just flew right by. Here we are getting ready to be in week number 14. And we've got, our Thanksgiving weekend games, and then you've got, we got some things coming up where, you've got the SWAC title game that's on the horizon. You've got all these different things, man, that's coming. And then before you know it, you'll have the Celebration Bowl. And just like that, man, the season of HBCU football, man, will come to a conclusion. So I just want to say that I know we spend a lot of time, we get after each other with trash talk, and we love the trash talk. We love all the things that go back and forth. But one thing that I just want to make sure is that everybody make sure that you don't lose sight of the fact that this is a beautiful game, because the season, when it's here, it's so good, man. And a lot of times we spend so much time maybe complaining about if our team isn't doing very well, if our coach isn't coaching the way we want to, or we don't like the game day experience in certain places, or, we're talking about the officiating or whatever, man. A lot of times we'll blink and we miss how beautiful this game is. We'll blink and it'll be gone. And before you know it, man, you'll be sitting up there in mid-April talking about, man, I miss football, man. I want it to come back. And just like she said, you got to enjoy the moment. You got to enjoy the moment for what it is. And that's just really what it is, man. And I like this. HBCU fans need to show up and watch Benedict versus Albany State D2 playoff game. Yeah, definitely need to do that. But yeah, he said watching UFL sucks. So, hey, football, man, it's here. It's here real quickly, and it goes just like that in a blink, man. And he said, well, I'll be covering basketball. Not to the degree that I cover football. I do get into basketball, and you'll see a little bit of content here on my channel. I'm working on a few things during the off season that I'll talk to you guys about once we get at the end of the Celebration Bowl. Because what I've got coming up ahead, I've got a couple things in the works where, I've got a debrief show that we've got on the season. I'm working on that with James Hadnot, the gentleman who calls lead commentator for HBCU Go. We're working on doing a show where we do a debrief, but also, working on a couple other things, and we'll see what happens. But really, last word tonight was, let's just enjoy the game for what it is. We got this weekend, then you got SWAC championship game, and then you got the Celebration Bowl. So you got 3 weeks of HBCU football left, man. So in the final 3 weeks of HBCU football, just enjoy it for what it is, man. If your team didn't make it, sorry, but next year's another year. And if your team did, man, cheer them on with all you got. But at the end of the day, regardless of what happens, man, everybody needs to make sure that you support. Support. And I thank y'all and appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody. And yes, Whitley, there is a coach's call tomorrow. I will be on that coach's call tomorrow, and we'll see what some of the things that get mentioned. A lot of it is kind of like exit interviews for 10 of the 12 coaches. And let's back it up. 6 of the 12 coaches. Did I say that right? No. My math's bad. Okay, so let me get this right. Grambling, Southern, Alabama State. No, 7 of the coaches. I knew my math would be right. 7 of the coaches will be an exit interview, and 5 of them still have games this weekend because we just covered them. Okay? Nope, I said it wrong again. 5 of them are having exit interviews because Tremaine Jackson and TC Taylor, they're not done playing yet. They still have a SWAC title game. So 5 exit interviews, and then two SWAC coaches that are going to the championship, And then the rest of them are playing this weekend. All right. So yes, there is a coach's call. Same time, same channels. Yours truly will be on there. All right. Yeah, again, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. The season's not over yet, though, Kevin. Season's not over yet. Season's not over yet. So, ladies and gentlemen, and I thank you too. Thank you again. So, said, okay, cool. Looking forward to your questions. Appreciate you, Peasy. Appreciate you, sir. Appreciate you always. What I want to say, so I'll be on there tomorrow on the SWAC coaches call. There is no show this Wednesday for me. I'll be traveling as part of Thanksgiving, and I want to say this to everybody for Thanksgiving. Make sure you travel safe and party responsibly. Enjoy time with family, some friends, and all that good stuff. Looking forward to it. And yeah, man, I'd be remiss if I didn't pull this up. Yeah, Shedeur Sanders, man, my Browns. Yeah, man. And hopefully he earns himself another start next week. We need it. All right. So again, make sure everybody travels safely this holiday season. I will be back with you on Sunday night. I know, Whitley. Me and my wife were talking about it. My wife is a Michigan grad, and I work at Ohio State. So yeah, 4 games in a row. We need to beat that. So yes, I will be back Sunday night. Same slot, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. in the Central. We will go over everything that happened over the holiday weekend. I'll go over the 4 games that we have, that I put on the schedule. And then also, I'm going to give my SWAC championship game preview. So that will be full and exhaustive on Sunday night. My SWAC championship game preview will come to you next Sunday night. So make sure you're here, make sure you're in place, and be ready. Because Wild Wayne loves y'all and loves this game. And I appreciate y'all as y'all head on out. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Thank y'all. It's Wild Wayne. It's The Ride. I love you all. Good night.
Thank you for joining us on The Ride with Wild Wayne Cartwright. As you exit the ride, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, hit the like button, and catch up on all of our prior episodes. Until next time, God bless.